following presentation is for mature audiences only.
Who are you?
He's a fine man.
All hell is broken loose.
He's a great broadcaster.
He's a very powerful guy. Absolutely brilliant.
Feared by men, adored by women.
He's a smart boy. It's patriotic.
It's no big deal.
It's the end of the world. I might as well tell you now. He's a monkey.
And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome in to another edition of The Wild Side with Eric Clark, coming to you from the east side of Music City. I am your not at all humble host, Eric Clark, saying thank you for taking time out of your busy day to give this a watch and a listen. As I always say, if you like it, like it. If you think someone else is going to like it, make sure you give it a quick share. Follow me on all of my social media. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. That way the channel can grow, we get more content, and we do more fun stuff. Today's video is going to be quick and easy, sort of like prom night. It's just going to be a simple reaction video. I did a reaction video to Baby Metal, and when I did that reaction, somebody had posted a message to me about, hey, you need to check out this band as well. And the video they linked me to, I'm not going to do a reaction to because I found a different video of theirs. But I did a little research. I haven't really watched the video I'm going to react to today, but I have seen a little bit of what this band can do, and I watched a little bit of what they did on tour and read a little bit about their history and so on and so forth. But before we get to that, I do want to say thank you to the people that make The Wild Side with Eric Clark possible. First and foremost, that is Aspen Dental. Dr. David Zeman and his staff at the Madison location saved my life. And when I say that, people in today's world of clickbait and, trolling, people think I'm not being serious or I'm exaggerating or I'm using a lot of hyperbole. And that is not the case. My mouth is my life, and they saved my life. I'm feeling better. I'm eating better. I believe I'm looking better. And that's just making me an all-around nicer person to be around. So I do want to say thank you to Dr. David Zeman and his staff at Aspen Dental. Any issues you have with your dental work, just go see the folks at Aspen Dental in any location. I'm sure they'll do just as good of work that Dr. David Zeman did up at the Madison location here in the Nashville area. We call it Rivergate, but it's actually Madison. And I also want to thank the staff at Connect 200. They're upgrading my computer as we speak, and every time I come to you, it's just getting better and better. They make sure that the quality of my video and all of my software and all of my safety and security on my PC is top-notch and ready to go. They are my personal IT concierge. Connect 200 right here in Middle Tennessee. You can give them a call, 615-530-2321. Tell Rick and the gang that you heard it on The Wild Side with Eric Clark, and they will take care of you, as they did with my friend Crazy Charlie and the Renegades of Puck. That podcast is one of the fastest growing, one of the most popular podcasts dealing with hockey in Middle Tennessee, and I think on the internet. Just won an award or some kind of a poll contest or something like that, and Charlie hasn't been doing this that long. It's not, he's growing exponentially, so he's hooked up with Rick as well. So if you're looking for someone to take care of all of your PC security, VPN needs, just see Rick and the gang at Connect 200 here in Middle Tennessee. 615-530-2321. They are the folks that make The Wild Side with Eric Clark possible. Again, make sure you're liking, subscribing, sharing, interacting, giving me all the analytics. I'm never going to ask you for money. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to sit here and beg you for Venmo or PayPal or anything like that. If you want me to sponsor, talk about your product, by all means, hit me up and we'll talk about a sponsorship deal. But when it comes to you, the listener, sitting back and just sit and watch the video, man. That's all I'm asking you to do. Watch it, like it, share it. You do it for the stupid memes that people post. The least you can do is share my video, like my video. I try to do it with all of the videos that I watch, the channels that I subscribe to, the people I work with in the media. During Titans games, I try to retweet and tweet as many people as I know. I try to retweet their stuff just to show the analytics that something is happening. So that's all I ask you to do. Like and share and subscribe to the channel. But again, if you do want me to talk about your product, if there's something you want me to promote to my viewers, by all means, shoot me a DM. We can talk about sponsorship opportunities for The Wild Side with Eric Clark. And I will not promote anything I don't use or trust. So there's that. So I'm not going to be promoting anybody's alcohol that way, because I'm not going to sit here and drink it, so I can't promote it. But that's all I'm asking you to do. Sit back, watch the video, like, and share. I was actually going to, this week, it's been a crazy week. We had to celebrate our Christmas a little late because people in the family weren't feeling well on Christmas morning. So we kind of put it off for a couple of days. That way the boys and everybody could get together and have a good time. We did our Christmas on Christmas morning, so it was good. They got presents one day, and then a couple days later, they got more presents. So it was almost like they were growing up in a divorced house. Shout out to all my latchkey kids. Do they use that word anymore? Is that a term anymore? I remember when I went from broken home to latchkey. That's kind of how that went. They softened, as George Carlin would say, they softened the English language. It went from broken home to latchkey. So I keep asking folks, hey, shoot me a DM, shoot me a message, shoot me a tweet with something you want me to talk about. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a reaction video to Baby Metal, a song called Catch Me If You Can. I call it Animetal, or Japanametal, whatever you want to call it. I call it Animetal. It's this fusion music that has been coming out of Japan and the Far East, the Asian countries, for a few years now, almost a decade, in a serious way. Prior to it, it was more kitschy, it was more fringe, but now it's starting to grasp into the mainstream with bands like Baby Metal, and my brother is into one, and I can't Bandmade? Is that? Maybe I'll do one. But anyway, so somebody sent me a link to a band called Wagakki Band. And Wagakki Band, and I'm going to really apologize ahead of time for maybe not getting some of the names and pronunciations correct when I talk about Wagakki Band. I don't speak Japanese, so I may not be getting some of the syllables, accents, and pronunciations correct. I did my best researching this band, and when I was doing it, I was more worried. I wasn't really worried about, am I going to like the video? What am I going to say about the video? I just kind of caught a clip of it, and for me it was, oh geez, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6, 7 people in this band, all with Japanese names, playing traditional Japanese instruments. I need to do I need to do some really deep dive studying. But as I was learning, I grew to appreciate what they're doing. Wagakki Band is basically translated to traditional Japanese instruments. That's what it means. Wagakki Band means a band of traditional Japanese musical instruments. But it's called Wagakki Band, and it was formed by Yuko Suzuhana, who is a shaijin singer, a traditional shaijin singer, which is Japanese kabuki theater. Not kabuki, I might be wrong, but it's similar in the operatic style. The shaijin is very demonstrative and very traditional, very folk in its roots in Japan. And not only is Yuko a traditional opera singer, she is also a master swordsman, which is really cool. I thought that was very cool to learn that, because in her performances, performing shaijin, she works with swords, and she is a master swordsman. So I found that to be very interesting. And as I was learning more about the band, I was getting more excited about checking out the song and learning more about what's the sound going to be. Is it going to be similar to Baby Metal? Because Baby Metal, it's just rock and roll with Japanese pop. But Wagakki Band is not. Wagakki Band is rock music fused with traditional Japanese folk music, shaijin. So I was wondering, I'm interested, because the video that I was sent was a song by Evanescence with Amy Lee, Bring Me to Life. And I just caught part of that, and they did the song Bring Me to Life. So it wasn't it wasn't the traditional Japanese shaijin folk music with new rock. It was a song from Evanescence. So I wanted to hear, and I want to hear, what their music actually sounds like without Amy Lee. And again, I may do a reaction to that video. it moved me. That was very moving. When you're done with this, I'll try to post a link to the Amy Lee Evanescence song as well, because I'll post links to the Wagakki Band page, this video, and everything else. I don't want to get hit with a strike. But I'll also try to remember to post a link to the Amy Lee, because they do a really good version of that, and it was very moving. It brought me to tears. It really did. But I wanted to hear what the Wagakki Band sounded like with their own music, because they started doing a Vocaloid style of music, and then eventually they started to do their own music. So I'm interested to see what Japanese traditional Shijin folk music sounds like with what the Japanese metal scene has been putting out. It's interesting because at first you would think that might be oil and water, but when you look at American rock and even British rock of the late 60s, early 70s, a lot of that was, we had a folk movement, and even metal. There's a great channel on YouTube called Wings of Pegasus, and this cat did a breakdown of Mother Maybelle Carter and how chord progression, what Mother Maybelle was doing in this country song, picking on this guitar, was similar to what metal guitarists do when they finger tap and do all these crazy things on a fretboard. So he was showing the connection between traditional folk guitar playing and metal. So it might not be as oil and water as you think. So I was real interested. And before we get into the video, I do want to go down the list of everybody, because I want to make sure I get their names correct, and I want to do it aside from the video playing in the background, because like I said, I want to watch it, I want to get into it, and I don't want to get distracted by trying to say somebody's name correctly. And like I told you before, the lead singer, her name is Suzuhana Yuko. When you look these up in America, you're going to see Yuko Suzuhana, and I do have to look down. That's not how it goes. It is Suzuhana Yuko. Did I not write down the shamisen player? I didn't, but I follow her on Instagram. I can't remember her name. What is her name? Oh, Benny. That's right. Benny. The shamisen player is named Benny. It's my new celebrity crush, by the way, is the shamisen player. So Yuko is the singer. She is the Shijin trained opera master. And all of these musicians, something else I found out too, all of these musicians are masters at their craft. They're all masters at their craft. And it's traditional Japanese music, along with the guitarist and the drummer. So the shakuhachi player, that is the flute, is a flute player. Kaminaga Daisuke is his name, and he looks like a Buddhist monk that just showed up at a gig. It's like, hey, I got a flute if anybody needs it. So yeah, we could use you up here. So he was one of the founders of this band along with Yuko. And the third founder of the band is Abukuro Kiyushi, and he is the koto player. The koto is the lap guitar that you're going to see. And there's another video of another female playing a koto doing like Dire Straits covers and other classic rock covers, and that's really cool too. Dire Straits is probably the best one, but that's called a koto, the lap guitar that you see them playing. That's called the koto, and that's Abukuro Kiyoshi. Machaya, again, Machaya, I really hope I'm getting that correct, is a guitar player. This guy is, to say phenomenal, it doesn't do justice to what this guy does. So I can't wait to see what he's doing here, because what he did with Evanescence and even his vocals, he is a pop star in Japan, so he can sing. But the way he paired with Amy Lee in that Evanescence song, for a guy who speaks Japanese, did a fantastic job while playing the guitar. And that's Machaya, is a guitar player. The drummer is Wasabi. I'm not being racist. That's the guy's name. That's what he goes by. Wasabi is the drummer, and Corona is the taiko drummer. There wasn't much taiko playing. The taiko drums are those big traditional Japanese drums that are played with the big, like half logs. is what they are. Wasn't a lot of that in the Evanescence song. So again, I'm interested to see how all of this combines, this guitar, the drums, with the traditional Shai-Jin opera. So, without further ado, I believe I've chatted long enough. Let's get into Wagakki Band, and the name of the song is Homura. Again, I hope I said that correctly. Homura, Wagakki Band. It's got the kabuki mask going. Nice. Is that a normal guitar? That, it looks, those are taiko drums right there, by the way. Nice. Is that that looks like a longer guitar. Am I wrong? Someone let me know, but that looks different. That looks like a different guitar than a normal guitar. I don't know if there's normal, but it looks different. Okay, hold on a second. Can we at least acknowledge the fact that what we have in this band is a Dragon Ball Z hero on one drums and a Dragon Ball Z villain on the other drums? That's a Dragon Ball Z hero right there. And there's the villain. Gee, it looks like a weird, like a different guitar. It's like a different kind of guitar. This has a back in the late 80s, early 90s, Eric Johnson released an album called A Via Musicam. And that title track, along with another one called Cliffs of Dover, was released and were the singles. And there was another, Joe Satriani released one as well, and I can't remember the name of the track that we were playing. There were like two of them that we had an A category, meaning heavy rotation. I'm telling you, sounds exactly like it. It's a double bass roll. My Dragon Ball Z guys. Oh no. The double bass roll is the taiko drums. I just noticed that. Why haven't all metal bands been using taiko drums? Check that out. Listen to that. Listen to that. You can feel that. And he's doing it on the offbeat. That's awesome. Right here. That's awesome. Wow. Note to metal bands moving forward. Taiko drums. Get you a taiko drummer. That was awesome. Listen to that. Listen to that double bass roll, but it's not the traditional double kick bass roll. It's not. It's just a guy playing taiko drums, but the drum is different, played differently. So it's doing the double bass roll, but he's doing it on the offbeat with the taiko. So it adds. I think it adds. This is adding a different type of heavy to this, different weight. Bass players flying. That's tight. Yeah, that's tight. Yeah, that's good. beat. Every metal band moving forward needs taiko drums in their band. That's... Even the cameraman got confused. Watch this. See, the cameraman's thinking that the Makai is playing the guitar, but he's not. That's Asa, the bass player. And he's killing it too, by the way. This bass player, Asa, I really, again, if I'm getting names wrong, I apologize. But I'm doing the best I can. From what I understand, first off, Asa, I got to tell you, you're a beautiful dude because I've been crushing on you for like a week now, and I just figured out that you're a dude. You're still a beautiful dude, and you're an awesome bass player. The proficiency of these musicians is at a level it's going to be hard to match. Asa. Now watch, the cameraman gets confused right here. No, that's Asa doing that. That's a groove. Again, I hate to be pausing so much. That's the shamisen, by the way. That I think it's a 3-string traditional Japanese banjo, and that's Benny playing the shamisen, that banjo, and it looks like a putty knife, is what it looks like, but it's not. It's just a giant pick, is what it is, and she is one of the best in the world. Again, all of these musicians are the top of their field. They are all the best at what they do. From what I understand, Wagakki Band is the Japanese version of what we would call a supergroup, if you will. And all of these players are incredible at what they do. And she is no different. And she's now my new celebrity crush. It's just the way it is. Look at her. I really think that's like a different kind of guitar. There it is. That offbeat with the double. That's heavy. This is heavy. And let's give props to this guitar player for doing it with a kabuki mask on. With a kabuki mask. I'm sure you could barely see. And I love the politeness of a Japanese crowd. Watch this. And then they stop. There's the kodo. That's called the kodo. And that is called a shakuhachi. A shakuhachi flute. Now, are they going to go full-on folk, or are they going to... This is Yuko. Taiko drums. If you take anything away from this video as a musician, it's you need to go to your next rehearsal and be like, all right, guys, we got to find taiko drums. They do add a haunting element that and a weight to this performance that is unmatched by anything I've heard to this point from any other band. Excuse me. Again, I apologize, but this is what I was waiting for, right? That drop right there, that drop right here. It's very, composition is important, along with structure. You hear musicians use a phrase called "in the pocket," and what that means when a musician says they are in the pocket, what that means is these people are working together at a rate that you cannot match. It's perfect in its energy, in its chemistry, in its synergy. Everything that's happening right here on this stage, and this is live, by the way. So again, it's very impressive. They're in the pocket right now. And this moment is that fusion, that transition from the folk to what they're creating, which is that Wagakki, that Shijin with metal fusion. And this is what I've been waiting for. How do they do it? And what you just saw that flute player do, I'm not going to try to pronounce it again. What you just saw that flute player do is why Jethro Tull are who they are. When anyone argues with me about Metallica not getting the Grammy because Jethro Tull, this is the closest you're ever going to see of how good Ian Anderson is with a flute in metal. Yes, Jethro Tull's metal. I don't even have this argument with me. But this right here, this guy is on a different level. He is. And this is perfect. Still a little traditional. She's beautiful. This whole thing is beautiful. Wow. Colors. Good breakdown. That drummer, Dragon Ball Z, love that guy. Just a connection. This is how it's supposed to be, folks. It's live. Incredible. Palms are sweating. Wow. God, I love that Japanese audience. They applaud and then they stop. That was incredible. That is what music is supposed to do. It's supposed to create colors. And when I think I said it, it was creating, when she was singing the Shaijin in that final choral build, it was creating these colors in my head. And I can't sit here and say I know what they're saying. I don't. But obviously there's a story and a tale going along with this music. But what the music did for me, not understanding the language, is it took me to my own story. Even while sitting here, I got lost in it. Just absolutely incredible. And again, I go back to what I said about being in the pocket. That was probably, and that was live. That performance there was live. It's really only jazz bands that you see get that tight in a live performance. It's really only really good jazz bands that are able to work within each other's spaces that well. And yes, you could see them at the beginning, especially. They did the little, all right, everybody, here's Jimmy on drums. And they would do the little, here's your moment, here's your moment, here's your moment. But while the song was playing in that build and then that drop and then back into the choral finish, that was incredible as far as their ability to, and you could see it at the end when they were all singing along with Yuko, they were all together in that moment. They were all breathing the same breath. They were all tapping their foot, lifting it at the same height. Everything about them in that moment in the pocket. It was on. It was spot on. And as far as she goes, Yuko, what you're hearing there is what Yoko Ono accidentally sounds like a bad version of. That is traditional Japanese Shaijin opera, and it was perfect. And the way that they were able to bring in that modern sound, not over top of the koto, not over top of the flute, but actually putting those instruments as a lead instrument, if you will. And that little flip of the cameraman to the guitar player when the bass player was actually doing the solo told you what expectations versus reality could be. And to watch them play together, just incredible. And I could tell by how she was moving, first off, and again, correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, and I'm probably wrong. And I don't mind being wrong. I was married for almost 20 years. It's fine. But if I'm not mistaken, even the movements that Yuko was doing with the fan are part of her swordsmanship, are part of the story. They're part of the opera. The fan is her instrument. And her voice, along with that fan, told a traditional Japanese poem over top of this modern Eric Johnson, Steve Vai, late 80s. I don't even know if I want to call it like beach metal, but it almost is. It's a metal that's brighter. And that was a bright song right there, Homura. That was a very bright song. Yeah, it was heavy. And again, if you take anything away from this video, it should be all metal bands should have taiko drums in them now. That was just not just the heaviness of the sound in that the double bass roll is what we would call it, but it wasn't. It was just the guy playing taiko. But we would call it a double bass roll. That sound that he created with that taiko drum, I would, like I said, I wrote everything down. If I were a metal musician, I'd be taiko drums. Head to the pawn shop. Get you a set of those. Get someone that can play them. I doubt highly as well as that cat did. But yeah, you need a traditional taiko drummer. Take away that. But the heaviness of it, that drum, along with the Dragon Ball Z guys, right? You got the Naradu guy and you got the bat. I don't even know. Again, I don't know if I'm getting this right. I should get my kid in here to figure it out. But you got the good Dragon Ball Z and you got the villain Dragon Ball Z. And they were salt and pepper in their drums. With that, the taiko drummer was adding a heaviness, not a darkness, but a heaviness to the sound, to the overall color of that. He was adding the darker hues to the colors in my mind. Whereas Wasabi, yes, the other drummer, the traditional drummer, not even traditional because actually the taiko drums are the traditional drums, but Wasabi, the conventional drummer, modern drummer, he was adding a brightness to the color palette. He was adding the forward momentum of the song. He was driving the song forward with headlights on, if that makes any sense. He was bringing the summer colors of the spectrum in my mind. He was bringing that brightness. He was bringing the smell of fresh cut grass. He was bringing the blooming of a dogwood. He was bringing in the wind in your hair, whereas the taiko drummer was bringing the intensity right before a golf swing. The taiko drummer was bringing the mood exiting the tunnel onto a football field, kind of, as a player, kind of a thing. But it's still bright. It's just a little heavier. And that guitar player, Machaya, again, he's a pop star. He's the best at what he does. I believe he's a professor. He's an instructor at a university. So he's a very well-educated and a highly proficient guitar player. And again, he did it with a mask on. And again, if you've ever seen Slipknot or bands like Mudvayne, bands like that, you'll say, dude, there's an added difficulty to what the guitar player is doing while wearing a mask. There is. There is, but there isn't. Most guitar players will tell you it's mostly feel. Watch any Stevie Ray Vaughan. Just watch Stevie Ray Vaughan, Austin City Limits. I don't think he opened his eyes the entire time. Like, I think he just walked up, would hit the microphone and be like, okay, now it's time to sing. So it is a lot of feel, but he's wearing a mask. So there is an added element to that. And I'm still thinking that was a different type of mask, a different type of guitar. I don't know if that matters. I don't know if it provides a cleanliness to it. But what he was doing, again, I go back to the late 80s, early 90s, when you had the rise of the guitar maestro. Steve Vai was the guitar player in the Ralph Macchio film Crossroads. Eric Johnson had released A Via Musicom. There was no lyrics on it. You had Joe Satriani. Again, we had two songs. I'm pretty sure we had two songs in the A category, and I know we had one in the recurrence. So I can't remember the name of the songs though, but he was hitting hard. So there was a lot of Yngwie Malmsteen was becoming a legend at that point. So there was a lot of credibility given to those that are proficient in that style of fast guitar playing. And I go back to what that guy Wings of Pegasus said, that a lot of that does go into the folk, into the country sound as well, the chord progression. And watching him, he reminds me a lot of that late 80s, early 90s focus on the cleanliness of the playing. That was clean. There was no sloppy to that guy's guitar playing. I don't think that guy has missed a note since the third grade. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if that guy even misses notes anymore. That was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. And I'm feeling like he's the band leader, but he's not. But I don't know. It's just a weird vibe I get. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. That's a different type of guitar that he may be playing. Maybe it's tuned differently. Maybe it just looks longer. Does that make sense? It looks like a longer guitar to me. So it just looked odd. The bass player Asa is a Vocaloid star. Vocaloid is a processed way of doing vocals and music and stuff. So he gained massive credulity while being a Vocaloid artist. And I talk about bass players being important to bands when you have people like John Paul Jones, John Entwistle, Darcy of the Smashing Pumpkins, and Tina Weymouth of the Talking Heads, the lady from the Wrecking Crew. When you talk about bass players and the importance of a bass player, and then eventually you get to a band like Tool, where the bass is a lead instrument, and then you have bands like The Doors where the bass doesn't even exist because guy can do it on the keyboards. Watching that guy play the bass, first and foremost, again, we talk about being in the pocket and being in the moment. When anyone would come to me and say, hey, go see this band play, I want you to tell me what you think of this band, or hey, come see my band, tell me what you think. One of the first things I look at, it's not proficiency, it's not can you play an instrument. as we know, a lot of people can play an instrument. Playing it well may be different, but a lot of people can play instruments. What I look for is the energy. What's the energy coming off of this? What is the vibe? What's the connection that the player is having with the song, the band, the audience, the moment? How are they? What's that relationship? There's bands you see and you say they love the attention. And then there are bands you watch and you say they love to perform together. That's Wagakki Band. You can tell by watching them. They would do that in a closed room with no one there. If they just got together, I bet their rehearsals are like that. I bet their rehearsals are just as fun and just as awesome. Because what you saw from Yuko the singer to the drummers to the bass player to guitar player, everybody was in that moment. And I'm not saying they don't care about the audience. It's not what I'm saying. Because I really think when you watch them, they love performing for their audience. Because they know how much the audience appreciates them. So you can tell, and that bass player Asa was doing a really good job of emoting that connection with the audience that the band had. Even though everybody did, I can't get over how in the moment that bass player was, and still being as proficient as they are, just incredibly proficient. The shamisen player, Benny, I follow on Instagram, not going to lie. If I were in a relationship, I would have her on my hall pass. Without a doubt, she would be moved above Jennifer Aniston, without a doubt. That is my new celebrity crush. And it's not just because she's an incredibly beautiful human being. Well, it is that. But to know that she's able to take a Japanese folk instrument and integrate that instrument. Again, one of the most impressive things about the Wagakki Band is they're taking these folk instruments and they're not using them as inspiration. They're not using them as featuring. They're not using them as we happen to have this in the background. No, these are front and center fusion of traditional folk music with a screaming Steve Vai guitar and a thundering bass line with that massive double bass roll on the offbeat. Again, I can't get over that either. It was just on that offbeat. So you take all of that together, and then you add in this flute, who I can't pronounce. I really can't. Kaminaga Daisuke is the flautist's name. I doubt he would go by flautist. When I watched that, I was getting heavy Jethro Tull. And I don't mean Jethro Tull in sound alike. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Jethro Tull in the, I don't think that would fit anywhere else. I don't think anyone is good enough to pull that off anywhere else. The reason Jethro Tull are as iconic as they are, it's not just because of the great music. It is because of Ian Anderson's proficiency with that flute and the ability to fold that flute into that heavy, the unexpected, right? The outlaw, if you will. It's very rock and roll. It's very rock and roll to fit an instrument you're not ready to hear into something you're ready to hear. And metalheads are very, canonical. They're very, okay, don't do anything different. If Iron Maiden added a flute, it might freak a bunch of people out. Not only add it, but put it up front. Again, you see that in the band. And the intensity that was coming off that guy playing that instrument was absolutely incredible. I made the hair on my arms stand up. It was absolutely incredible, the groove that cat found with that instrument in that song. And and again, you could feel it, you could see it, you could hear the band coalesce around each instrument as they played their part in that song. So I could not be more impressed or more ready to get deeper into a catalog of a band than I am Wagakki Band. They seem to, and I've gone through some of their videos, and some of it seemed to be a little jazz, some of it seems to be traditional folk, some of it seems to be a fusion of metal with the folk. So I'm very, very interested to see how much better this can get, because if this is one of the first impressions I'm getting from them wow. I'm not saying it's like hitting a 300-yarder off the first tee and then it all going downhill after that. I'm saying I can't wait to get into the Wagakki Band catalog. So again, that is Wagakki Band, Homura. I will put a link to the band's page along with a link to this video and a link to the Amy Lee. I may do a reaction on that, but I've already watched it, so I don't think my reaction to watching it again would be anything worthwhile. So let me know what you think, but again, I'll put the links to all of those down in the description of this video. I do want to thank Wagakki Band for just existing. All right, thank you for that. I've been screaming and yelling for years about new music and where is it and what's happening and why does everything suck and blah, 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 blah. And then you stumble across something like Wagakki Band and baby metal and things like that, and you say, thank you. Thank you very much for going out there and taking the torch, the baton, if you will, and moving forward in a new direction that is not just impressive on its level of musical skill, but it's really good, and it's got a really good vibe to it. And again, they were just in the pocket, and I fell into it. And I'm sure if I weren't being filmed, I would be a little bit more focused. But wow, that was really good. It was quite moving, very moving, very heavy. I may have to go watch that again just to try to absorb everything that I caught there. But that was really heavy. So thank you, Wagakki Band, for just forming and being friends, and thank you for doing what you do and giving off that energy. I'm in a better mood now. So again, go check them out, Wagakki Band. I'll leave a link in the description. Thank you very much for hanging out with me today. If you have a suggestion for any other videos you'd like me to react to, any stories you want me to talk about, by all means, hit me up on social media, following me on all of my social media accounts, or you can just make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can hit me up with a direct message there as well. I do want to thank Aspen Dental and Connect 200 for making sure that the Wild Side with Eric Clark happens. And I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy day, solving all the world's problems to give my little video a watch. Like it if you like it. Share it if you think someone else is going to like it. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Make sure you're looking out for each other. Make sure you're looking out for your neighbor. Try to do at least one good thing a day. I'm Eric Clark, and this has been The Wild Side.